Hello, this is Mac with the Mac Commentary. Today, my guest will be Bob, and we will discuss why Donald Trump's recent statements on the Syrian refugees is so upsetting to many people here at home in the USA and around the world. Bob also has some radical ideas pertaining to the United States allowing the refugees into this country as well. Bob, why do you think Donald Trump and his calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on has gone viral?
Well, Mac, thank you for having me on your show again. And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you just made that statement. When Donald Trump made the statement that until the representatives find out, and I think he said, "What the hell is going on?" And so you're absolutely right. But you think about this, and I know this is a simple analogy, but your wife is washing clothes, right? So the washing machine begins to break down. And instead of saying, she called you and said, "Mac, fix the washing machine," she lifts up the top and starts putting in more clothes. The washing machine has not been fixed. All right, let's leave that analogy alone, and because I know it's probably not a proper one for this analysis. But here's what I say: I think Mr. Trump is right on target with regards to this question of letting these perceived to be terrorists into America. We've got a difficult situation here where people have been killed and are being killed and will be killed, and yet we don't know what's going on, and we're continuing to let them in. So he said, bring a squeaking halt to this circumstance until it's found out. But I think that what Donald Trump is doing, and the guy is brilliant at this, he is negotiating for the highest office in the world, the President of the United States. And Mr. Trump I think he is the top negotiator, or a top negotiator in the United States. I agree with him. I think I might go out here and start stumping for Mr. Trump, stump for Trump, like I've been singing for Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, because I think these are two of the smartest guys that the Republicans have on that stage. They will be on that stage in the next several days talking to the American people. They are telling us precisely what we want to hear and what we want, because that's what's in our hearts. We, as true patriots of this country, want our country to be we the people, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And Mr. Trump, he makes these wild statements because he knows that's going to start all of the fanfare and the kerfuffle among these talking heads and these news media people. And then it goes on the talk shows, and ultimately it gets down to me and you, the average guy, the common man on the street. And we'll be talking about it. And we'll be saying, "Oh, yeah, I agree with Trump. Oh, no, I don't agree with him," depending upon what our perspective is. And that's what he should do. He's negotiating for the presidency. And he wrote about this in his book, The Art of the Deal, back in 1987. He laid out 11 points. That book is based upon Dr. Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. And Mr. Trump said this in his book. He said, look, there are 11 things that you need to do when you're out here trying to consummate a deal. And I remember 3 of them. And the reason I remember these 3 because I was thinking about what he's doing right now. He said, first of all, you got to think big. And he's thinking big, the biggest office in the world. And he said, then organize your forces. Take it out there. And that's what he's doing. He's taking it out there. And he said, control your costs. He's getting all this publicity. It's not costing him a dime, and he's one of the richest men in the world. So he's using 3 of the 11 principles that he wrote about in The Art of the Deal to further his presidency. His quest for the presidency of the United States. And he's using a real circumstance, the fact that people are being killed by these people coming in from other borders, and it's got everybody in a tither. They don't know how to deal with them. Because I just saw a report today, Mac, that after he made that statement about sealing off the borders, 65% of the Republican voters agree with him. This is over and above the polls that he's leading in. So I think he's just executing or exercising his skill at negotiating abilities. And it's got everybody upset because they haven't read his book, The Art of the Deal, and they're not negotiators. He is the best negotiator I think we have walking. We'd have a better deal with Iran. And if that little rapper over there in North Korea made a statement like he made the other day about he's going to fire off a hydrogen bomb, I think Mr. Trump would have something to say to him too.
Whoa, Bob! You laid it out there, man. I tell you. Well, let me ask you this question, though, Bob. Mr. Trump stated, without looking at the various polling data, it is obvious to anybody the hatred is beyond comprehension. Where this hatred comes from and why, we will have to determine. Now, to me, Mr. Trump making that statement like that, it should be, like you say, he may be out there still negotiating, still whatever, but it's obvious where that hatred comes from, why the Muslims hate the USA. In 1991, George H.W. Bush started the Operation Desert Storm. And his son, they didn't finish the job over there. So his son got elected in 2000 and went back over there even after the Twin Towers were knocked down. He went to Iraq again, not having any real evidence that Hussein had actually caused the planes to fly into the Twin Towers. But from the time period 2003 through 2011, over 500,000 people, Iraqis, civilians and military soldiers, were killed. So shouldn't that be an obvious reason as to why these people, the Muslims, hate the United States?
I would say this, Mac, because you bring up several areas of concern to me. Number one, you got to remember that Saddam Hussein, well, first of all, we went into the country because they allegedly had weapons of mass destruction. And they used one of our stellar people in America, General Colin Powell, to promulgate that lie. Unbeknownst to him, they tricked Colin Powell into promulgating that lie about weapons of mass destruction. Okay, that's one thing. So we went over there to eliminate the so-called weapons of mass destruction. Now, I asked myself this question. I said, well, Bob, if Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, how did he get them? Well, now you got to remember there was a war between Iraq and Iran, and Saddam Hussein was America's boy. So if he had weapons of mass destruction, perhaps that's how we or the American government knew that he had them, because we gave them to him. That's one thing. Now, that would cause a little bit of anger, I would think, in somebody if you tell me, well, I come to your house and tell you, well, Mac, I know you got, my stuff over here, you said, no, I don't have it, Bob. I said, well, I know you got it because I gave it to you. I mean, that would cause a little anger among your family, because why would Bob do something like that? So they would be angry at me for that, but that's just a little one. Then, that's like they did with Iran. And, well, let's stay on Saddam Hussein and why those people hate us. Some of them hate us. Think about this. If somebody would come into America and kill 500,000 Americans in a war like that, what do you think the reaction of the American people would be? They would want to go over there and literally kick their ears, whoever that may have been. They would unleash as much terror on those people as is being unleashed on us. But we don't want to admit that. You see, we're good at lying, man, just like we lied about the weapons of mass destruction. And then you say, well, everybody lies a little bit. Yeah, but we've been lying and lying and lying, and the lies, as I've heard you say, the chickens have come home to roost. And I'll give you another example, and I'm going to hang it up from this moment. America is now just resolved to deal with Iran. Well, you got to go back. They had a leader over there in Iran at the time named Melchizedek. Well, he had a deal with British Petroleum, BP Oil back then. And they were buying oil dirt cheap. I think $50 a barrel. And they were selling it. Now think about this, Mac. Here I am, you selling this stuff to be dirt cheap, and I'm still cooking the books on you. So Melchizedek said, well, wait a minute, man. I think you guys are cheating us even at $1 a barrel or 50 cents a barrel. I want to see the books. They said, no, you can't see no books, man. So then they killed him. They assassinated him. And they put the Shah in. The Shah Pahlavi, or whatever his name was. He became America's boy. And then when the people got old enough to realize that, wow, we got tricked, and Ayatollah Khomeini, who was one of the main people that was beginning to talk about this, he had to get out the country and go to France. And that's when you had those students uprise and took over the American embassy back in 1974.
Well, Bob.
Because they knew it was a lie.
Well, Bob, stand here on point with the negotiation skills of Donald Trump. Why is it then that this same type of negotiation cannot be, like you said, someone come into your country and you're going over there, you lied about the weapons of mass destruction, you killed over 500,000 people, 500,000 people. That's just a low number. They're saying there's many more than that was killed. Now, why is it that you can't go over there and be apologetic to those people over there and say, hey, we made a mistake? Be man up and say, we made a mistake. And we're going to do all we can to help rebuild your country.
That wouldn't work. I don't think that'll work in 2015, Mac, because this country, the leaders of this country over time have done things like that. You go back all the way back and look what they did with the Native Americans, so-called Indians, when they gave them blankets with cholera in it.
I'm not saying, Bob, that they're going to do that. I'm just saying that they don't know why these things are happening. They seem to have a very short memory of why these the jihadists are out there and coming to the United States to wreak havoc on us. You know what I mean?
That's right. But the people who make the decisions to do that, Mac, they are not in touch with the common guy. You notice there was now there have been people in these offices that have been hurt, but most of the people that you notice that are being killed, they're common people like me and you.
They don't.
They're not these people that sit in these halls of Congress or in these high bureaucratic offices. They're not the ones being assassinated, so they really don't care.
That's right.
Whether these people come in here and wipe out the American people, the common guy like me and you, we would be upset about that and want to go kick some derriere. But the politician, he doesn't care whether or not. All he's interested in is his paycheck on Friday, Mac.
Well, Bob, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that we're going to have to continue to watch Mr. Trump and also Mr. Carson. I notice how they are downplaying him quite a bit now, but that's okay. I still look at him as I still support Mr. Carson because he's the only one out there talking about doing something for the black people. And,
that's right.
And that's my main concern right there is for the people, my race of people. And we have a lot of things going against us today, Bob. Many things going against us where they are denigrating us, killing us, and doing a lot of other things to us. But it's about time that we start helping ourselves. And I think Mr. Carson and Dr. Claude Anderson, they are on the right track of trying to give us something to try to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. And
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, and I would say this too. I don't believe that Mr. Trump is a bigot or a racist. I think he's a par excellence, the consummate deal maker. And I think that he and Dr. Carson ultimately will form a coalition in the quest for the highest office of the land for this reason. Mr. Trump and the Republican Party are not going to be able to win the election without the support of black people and Mexicans and Asians. That's a fact. And the Democratic Party knows that. And so unless the Republicans, the party of white old men, old white men, unless they can figure out a way to get the support and get some color into their party, there's no way they're going to win that election, because you cannot win the election with 35 or 40% of the vote. It takes 51%. And 35% plus another, 15, 16% will give you the 15%. And the only way you're going to get that 16% is by bringing in blacks and other people of color. And that's going to be the major challenge that the Republican Party is going to have. How to get these Democrats, black Democrats particularly, who are hitched to the Democratic Party by shackles for so many years, to get them to break those shackles.
Okay, Bob. Well, thanks for coming on today, and I appreciate that. And we'll see you again in another day or so.
Well, thank you, Mac, for having me.